Okay, you're all set. Hey guys, we took a look at 4 12-inch cordless sliding miter saws. Our team put some real serious time and effort into this evaluation, and we wanted to bring you the most comprehensive information that we could. For this evaluation, for this head-to-head, we broke things into several categories, including precision and accuracy, performance, which was speed and power, features, ergonomics, dust collection, decibels, and price. If you want all the model numbers, the specifications, more details on these saws, then you need to go to the toolboxbuzz.com website and read the article. The website always has more information in it, and I'll put a link in the video description below for you. Now, for precision and accuracy, to be consistent, we outfitted all the saws with a Makita 80-tooth 12-inch blade. The only exception, unfortunately, was the Bosch, and that was due to the fact that it was a prototype from Germany and it had an arbor size that was 30 millimeters. We needed a part, we didn't have it. The Toolbox Buzz crew was super excited though to see this Bosch. Brand new saw, and look, miter saws, they never come from the factory perfectly tuned, right? Some do, but most don't. And many users just pull them out of the box and use them. So, you know, as a finished carpenter, woodworker, miter saws give us the ability to make accurate and precise cuts, and we need to routinely check that and maintain that. So, because a little bit of an alignment can cause super compounding errors in our project. So we checked the calibration of these saws right out of the box, and we recorded our findings, and then we calibrated the saws, noting the difficulty to get them tuned up. And we looked at the following areas as we did this. We looked at table flatness, fence flatness in alignment, bevel accuracy when set to 0 degrees. We looked at the miter accuracy when it was set at 45 degrees, as well as the cross cut accuracy when set to 90 degrees. So we looked at all of these different avenues and flatness of the table and all of that. And the winner of the accuracy results was the Makita saw. Makita and DeWalt had excellent accuracy, and they were neck and neck with 8 and 9 points respectively. Bosch was 3rd place, followed by Milwaukee in 4th. All of these saws were easy to tune up and adjust to get to the right place, so that's good. For the performance section, we tested the runtime and the speed of the cut with the battery sold in the kitted form. So if it came as a kit, we used that battery. The power test, great indication of what the saw and that blade configuration can cut. And we made 5 timed cuts in 7 1/4 inch LVL lumber, and we recorded the average time. This is a simple test with some uncontrolled variables, but our methods were fair, so I feel good about it. Now, the performance winner was Makita. Makita, it was the fastest cutting saw with an average of 1.4 seconds. That's through LVL lumber. The Milwaukee was 2.2, and the DeWalt came in at 2.5. When we got to the runtime test, the winner of that was Bosch. Now, for the runtime test, we made repetitive cuts in KD lumber until the battery was exhausted or a thermal overload prevented us from continuing any further. Operators were instructed to start the saw, bring it up to speed, bring it forward, down, make your cut, let the saw blade do the cutting, stop, rest, repeat. For this test, the data is being presented in 2 ways. First, we looked at the raw number of cuts. And then second, we looked at the number of cuts normalized by using the total pack energy, which we know is watt hours. And that gives us more of an apples to apples comparison and acknowledges the different voltages and amp hour pack sizes. The Milwaukee and the Bosch run at 18 volts. The DeWalt uses a 16 volt battery, which is really 54 volt working voltage. Flex volt battery, and the Makita uses 2 18-volt batteries running at 36 volts. For the total raw number of cuts, DeWalt led the way with 191 total cuts. Bosch came in with 146 cuts in second. Makita was third. They had 134 cuts. Milwaukee ended with 105 cuts in fourth. Now, it should be noted that Milwaukee experienced quite a few thermal protective shutdowns. After the second shutdown, which was at 105 cuts, we deemed it was finished. However, we kept cutting. Each time the thermal shutdown, we just reset the saw, basically let go of the trigger and start again. And we got 296 cuts before we depleted the battery. Now, clearly, Milwaukee is being super conservative in protecting their tool from heat. And that's great to protect your investment, but we think it's a little bit too conservative, and it really kills the production if you have to grab another battery and to get another pack with a ton of energy still left in it, right? To leave that energy left in that pack. All right, when we looked at normalization by watt hours, each of these saws come in different configurations. We get that. As you can imagine, the saw with the greatest watt hour battery theoretically has a leg up over the competition for runtime cuts. Now, whenever we do these cordless tool comparisons, we try to level the playing field by taking the results, dividing the results by the number of watt hours for that particular saw's battery or tool's battery. In this way, the reader can see which saw has the most effective combination of battery technology, stamina, and motor power on a per watt hour basis. With the normalized data, Bosch edged out in front of DeWalt for the top slot, but only slightly. Now I want to go back to that Milwaukee saw a little bit and the thermal behavior, because it's kind of important. It almost had 300 cuts. We thought you'd be interested in what we actually experienced. So on cut number 83, we experienced what would be best described as the electric brake engaging but spinning, like a blade spin delay. When you pull the trigger on the saw, it would do that. The battery LED never flashed, so all we did was just let go of the trigger and redo it. So we recycled the trigger, reset the saw, and kept cutting. Why? Because that's what I would do in real life. I would just let go, start again, and keep cutting. We experienced this multiple times though. Cut 83, 105, 118, 120, 124, 138, 143, 149, 160, 166. Having the saw act like this got in the way of its impressive amount of cuts that it could make. We reached out to Milwaukee, and we were advised that the repeated start-stop usage is common, that we use commonly in our head-to-heads, is not common, I should say, on the job site. And as a result, Milwaukee said it's a designed-in thermal protection process that was kicking in, that we were experiencing. On this miter saw, our test procedure created a large drain due to the amount of energy needed to continuously start and stop a large 12-inch miter saw blade over and over again. These protections are built into the Milwaukee tool to protect the user's assets and increase the overall life of the tool. I just would like to see them change that threshold. Features. So the miter saw that won features was Makita. It came in 15 points and won the features section with maximum angle and bevel cuts, double dust port, wireless vacuum activation, excellent outriggers, and its forward rail design. Overall, this Makita saw is a solid design, high quality build, and features real-world trim carpentry use. Second place went to the Milwaukee saw at 17 points. DeWalt scored 21 points. Bosch finished fourth with 23 points. Some of the notable features that we looked at while we were evaluating this stuff was the laser versus LED shadow light debate. The Makita saw has a built-in laser. It indicates, the side of the blade for the cut, and it also has a separate on-off switch. The laser does display the line of cut when the saw blade is not spinning, which is nice for lining things up. We like that. It's good for precise cuts. But in general, the Toolbox Buzz crew are not fans of lasers. We all prefer the blade shadow light option, similar to the DeWalt or the Milwaukee saw. This shadow light marks the blade in almost any lighting condition, and unlike a laser, it never has to be calibrated because it's simply a shadow of the blade, of any thickness blade. And it's it's mounted to the saw or over the blade, and it just lines it up. All right, next option was the AC/DC option. DeWalt was the only miter saw to have the capability to do this. They can run on battery, or you can plug it in. They accomplished this with a power pack inverter that plugs into the 2 battery ports on the saw. This feature is attractive to many contractors because it gives you the edge, right? Complete job power flexibility. That's what it gives you. All right, we looked at the Bosch axle glide and the forward rail design on that Makita. We found the Bosch axle glide and the forward slide of the Makita to operate extremely smooth. Both saws show off quality construction and have no head slop. The forward rail axle glide also takes up significantly less space behind the saw, which is really nice. This takes up less room in maybe a shop, a work site, or maybe if you're working in a hallway and you get limited room to get by. If you work in a small shop, cramped spaces, this feature is just going to open up floor space. Now, the Makita bevel and angle mechanisms were excellent, and the miter head locking pin and slide pin is the nicest design that I've seen on any miter saw, period. Also from Makita is their auto start wireless system. The Makita system saw offers an auto start wireless system that enables you to be able to connect wirelessly from your miter saw to your dust extractor. That's also equipped with the AWS transmitter. So basically it's a small transmitter. It inserts into the saw's handle, right above the handle, as well as it inserts into the vacuum. The transmitter communicates with the Makita dust extractor, and it also it turns it on and off when the saw blade is when the saw is turned on. Now, the AWS equipped tool can also communicate with any dust extractor if you have an onboard AC outlet, and to do that you would need an optional Makita AWS universal adapter. The transmitter and adapter are optional. They do cost more money, but the convenience, long-term savings, and efficiency really make it an investment worth thinking about, because you can use your regular dust extractor with your Makita saw. All right, moving on to the Bosch. They have a user interface, variable speed with eco mode. Now, Bosch's user interface allows you to change the tool speed and at a push of a button, and the interface changes color depending on the status of the tool. It just gives you feedback. The green is normal, yellow identifies an issue like higher motor temperatures, and red is going to signify that the saw is either offline, and then there's blue. Blue indicates that you're connected to a mobile device. Now, the eco mode function places the saw in economy mode, and that produces 20% more runtime by reducing the tool's RPM. Now, why would you use this? Well, you might use this feature at the end of the day. You know, maybe you're out charging your second battery, something's wrong, you don't have your batteries, you need to eke out a few more cuts. It also has Bluetooth connectivity, and you can connect it to the Bosch tool module. This allows you to connect to a toolbox app that Bosch offers on your mobile device for speed selection and individual mode settings. Upfront controls. Bosch has a really nice setup, just like its corded saw, with upfront controls, bevel locking, detent override, stuff like that. This feature also allows Bosch to be tucked up nice against a wall. You don't have to reach behind it to make these adjustments. Now, this pretty much makes Bosch the most compact saw we used in this test. We went on to ergonomics. Now, Milwaukee won ergonomics, and after a full day of running performance tests, the team spent several hours in the shop testing it and running the saws and looking through 6 different categories of ergonomics: switch grip, miter and bevel adjustments, and fence adjustment, and finally transport balance, which was also looked at weight as well as that, transport balance, weight, and then lefty friendly usage. So we weighed each saw, we carried them upstairs, we carried them through doorways, transported them one-handed through gates, loaded them and unloaded them into trucks and vans and stuff like that. We wanted to see how it worked. We looked at left friendly. Lefty friendly, basically, the saws there were the Makita and the Milwaukee. They have switches that are easier to use for left-handed users. Bosch has a trigger that has a little bit of a pinch point between the trigger and the housing that may pinch your finger if you get into that void, so just be aware of that. And Milwaukee took the ergonomic section basically with 11 points. Milwaukee was at, Makita came in at 13, DeWalt 14, so pretty close. The Milwaukee pretty much came in tops on ergonomics on every category except their switch and grip. It has a tried and true miter saw features, making it easy to operate and intuitive. It is also the lightest saw and the easiest saw to transport. It weighs like 47.5 pounds. The Makita is an easy to use saw. It scored top in ambidextrous switch, bevel adjustments, and grip. DeWalt also did well with fence operation, and it scored tops with its solid miter angle adjustment. It consistently scored in the top 3, pretty much third in almost every other category, giving it a solid third place finish. Bosch is a tremendously compact saw, and it's due to its upfront controls and axle glide system. The team felt that the axle glide system is innovative and superior system to most radial arm saws or slide saws. The team also really liked the bevel angle adjustment, fence system, and the outriggers that support the material on the sides. Now, while it is heavier, it is compact front to back, and it makes for a great saw in a compact job site or a small workshop. Let's move on to dust collection. Winner of that was a tie, Bosch in Milwaukee. Now, we made 25 cuts in 2x6 lumber, KD, measured the volume of wood that was collected through a vacuum into individual bags, vacuum bags. Additionally, we assessed the buildup of dust that didn't make it into the vacuum and accumulated either on the table saw, or the miter saw, or the fence. Now, Bosch and Milwaukee easily took first place by collecting 8.7 ounces of sawdust. Second place was Makita at 7.8 ounces. One note on the Bosch: when the saw head is in position in the left bevel setting, the sawdust exhaust tube does hit that fence. You're going to watch that. Now, the DeWalt saw came in last, and that's due to the fact that it performed extremely poorly in dust collection. The reason for this was that the dust chute flaps, the rubber flaps behind the blade, collapsed when the dust collector was turned on. Additionally, when we were not using the vacuum, the long plastic sawdust chute frequently clogs, and it required us to use a long metal rod. I used an SDS drill bit to poke through and clear it. Super annoying. We looked at decibels. Winner of that was Makita. All of these saws, all of them, require hearing protection. The quietest saw was Makita at 88.2 decibels. DeWalt came in at 88.7 decibels. The Bosch saw came in at 96.7, and Milwaukee came in last at 98.7 decibels. We looked at pricing. Now, we looked at pricing that was included as a kit price at the time of this video. The best priced saw was the DeWalt, and that came in at $799, followed by Milwaukee at $849. Bosch has a suggested retail price at $899 because it's not available in the States yet. And then, of course, the Makita is $1,059. Pretty pricey saw, but it's a beautiful saw. So overall, who has the best cordless sliding miter saw? Makita. The best sliding miter saw, cordless, is Makita, followed by DeWalt. The Makita saw came in with 15 points. It's a high quality, well-built, feature-rich, precise, and accurate cutting saw with the lowest decibels. This saw is nice enough for a woodworker in the shop or for finished carpenter out in the field. DeWalt came in second place with a total score of 19 points overall, being the best price saw in this competition with strong rankings in decibels, accuracy, precision, and runtime. Makes this a solid full-size cordless miter saw. Now, Milwaukee came in third place with 20 points. Now, this is the saw that the team said they would most likely choose for field operations, for job site work. And mostly it was due to its performance in the testing, its dust collection, and ergonomics. Most importantly, ergonomics was the ease of transport and lighter weight. It's just an easy saw to carry. Bosch came in fourth with 23 points. It excelled in quality of build, compact size front to back, and dust collection. Bosch has excellent up-front controls, and that axle glide design just makes the saw a perfect saw for the shop or in a large job site where you're set up for a while, where you need that 12-inch cut capacity and the space is limited. It should be mentioned that the user interface was a favorite on this Bosch saw by the team. And this is also the only saw in the test with a variable speed that you can dial in, making it the best saw for cutting wider range of materials. One thing we looked at was best value. I like the best value. To me, that oftentimes is a winner for me. DeWalt's the best priced, finished second place. It's a no-brainer, right? It should be the best value saw, and we gave it to DeWalt. Guys, we try to get you comprehensive information. The tests and evaluations, they're all difficult to do. They take a lot of time, and ultimately we're limited in scope. As we're not a professional testing company, and we've got limited time to evaluate these tools, and it takes a long time. We cannot possibly do long-term testing that would shed light on durability, and we can't possibly test every application that you might like to see us do. Sorry, we can't. We got tons of comments from you guys on how we come up with our rankings. A lot of folks agree, a lot of folks disagree. As we've stated in all of our head-to-heads, there are hundreds of ways to compare tools. The good news is we've openly shared with you all of our results, all of our data. And you can rank these tools any way you want. You don't care how we ranked an item? No problem. Just simply remove that rank from the matrix and re-rank it. You don't like price? Take the price out and re-rank the tools. Your tool will come in differently. I'm sure it will. So hopefully you find this useful when you're comparing 12-inch cordless miter saws when you're purchasing or thinking about making a purchase. If you have a moment, please check out our other head-to-head test at toolboxbuzz.com and here on the video channel, as well as our other miter saw test. We did a 10-inch, and we're going to be doing compact real soon. Guys, if you like the video, please consider subscribing, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and most importantly, hit that notification bell. And don't forget to follow Toolbox Buzz on Instagram. I'm Rob Robillard. We'll see you at the next head-to-head test.